now really delighted to introduce Junayd Islam, young, really dynamic activist who's part of Cambridge Stop the War, who's written a poem and is going to perform that poem for us now. So over to you, Junayd.
Well, here we stand at Lakenheath, against a class we find besotted with war. The United States have brought their nukes right here, and so we must defend our peaceful cause. We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? Indeed, we've stood up for this cause before. The women stood up, you weren't yet born. When bases like this were preparing for nukes, they discovered protesters making themselves welcome too. They blocked the gates, they clambered up, they cut their way through. The state gave them violence instead of a host. They arrested and committed all kinds of abuse. Then they tapped people's thrones and they read through their post. They were even ordering policemen to shoot. What would they do with such violence on them? Would they flee? Are you joking? Now we know we've scared them. The persistent inspired an encampment for peace that persisted until the mighty turned weak. Compensation was paid to those arrested unjustly, and the nuclear weaponry taken away. But now, the US want to bring their nukes back. Again, we're forced to leave our homes and protest. We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? Now, why do they want to bring their nukes here? I have to admit, their intentions aren't clear. To scare Russia back or provoke Putin more? Is Trump going to save the Ukraine, or is he going to let them fall? Fighter jets you have used as pace as a pit stop on their flights to support Netanyahu. F-16s and 22s. What's next? A nuke to please Eliyahu? The reason they give us changes each year, but what stays the same? They want nukes down here. We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? Self-righteous powers showing each other their nukes. You know we've seen that before. They taught their children, take cover and duck in case the grown-ups get destroyed. They say that Cuba housing Soviet nukes have the world in fear of great war. So is Keir Starmer going to be an inverted Castro? Will children duck and cover once more? We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? Must I remind you what a nuke can do? Have you forgotten Hiroshima and Nagasaki too? Must I describe the firestorm swallowing neighborhoods whole, or the shadows of victims etched on the stone? Must I tell you the 30 physicians who survived the attack were suddenly tasked with the task of 300? Must I recount the hundreds of thousands who died on those days, and the many more who lived on with cataracts and leukemia and babies destined for cancer? What devil wants to return to all of this? To return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? What happened to the dream of a brave new world where war is a thing of the past? What happened to the treaty not to proliferate nukes, to work to a peace that will last? What happened to our resolution for international law? Was the UN doomed from the start? I thought this was the age of industry and cash, where all shall read and none starve. I thought our towers of glass reached high to the sky to push our limits to the stars. I thought, were we not promised the freedom of expression and thought, to realize that brave new world, that great new world, that dazzling great world for some, but not for us all? While Europe was pointing their dreams to the sky, the Arab dream of independence, crushed by Britain and France. While treaties were written and signed for peace, you had napalm dropped on Vietnam. While the United Nations were being first convened, the Palestinians were evicted and shot. It's nothing new for the West to do human rights best, while genocide gets quietly paid for. While Europe debated how to share out the casks, the Bay of Bengal got sucked of its gold. You understand, what we see happening today fits perfectly to the script of the play. Self-righteous powers showing the world their great might, while the poor of the world languish on. We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. Will the powerful lead us to violence and death, or will the people of Earth strive for the best? An issue that we face in every age. It's now the US and apartheid Israel. Before, the Empire of UK. Before that, the Romans, the Spartans, Thamud and Ad. And once, the Pharaoh slaughtered Jewish babes. At school, our teachers taught that history was like a play that went from ape to man, each new age improving on before. No need to feel disgust for your dad. But I perceive that history might actually be a spider's web of plays that hang and tug. Each age has actors and its own special stage, but always greed and hate define the script. An issue doomed to carry us to our core, and a lust for greatness, blood and war, but also light that comes from every heart that beats to save the show before the final scene. Every time the darkness finds a foe, the whole web shakes, electric with the light. The darkness acts to warn the stakes are high, but the light reminds it's always worth a try. And everyone who works for peace for all is with the conscientious objectors from before. And every man who lays his gun down feels unity with those abroad. And every Jew who speaks out for Palestine finds Moses who deplored Pharaoh's crimes. And maybe heroes, like our Bruce Kent, are with us as we camp in tents. So come with your hearts that won't have children cry. We shall run like the moon through her course, and we won't let them shake us. We won't turn to shies. We shall run like the moon through her cause. We return to an issue we've dealt with before, an issue pertaining to justice and war. The mighty will try to lead us to death, but we promise to rise and strive for the best. And here we stand at Lake and Heath, returning like the tide against the shore. And every war, and every time a war, and with every war, a peaceful world is near, so long as we defend our cause.